What's going on, Jerome's? Daddy is back. Feels good to be back in the chair, ready for the stretch run. Minnesota Vikings back at it Sunday Night Football against the Indianapolis Colts at U.S. Bank Stadium. Of course, Colts, U.S. Bank Stadium. Can't talk about that without talking about the biggest comeback in NFL history. Now, part of me thinks that it was a fantastic game. Obviously, can't take that away. But also, you got down 33-0 against one of the worst teams in the league, coached by Jeff Saturday. All we need are 5 touchdowns, right? So hopefully a comeback won't be in store this time around. And the Vikings are put in initially as 7-point favorites. It's the largest point spread the Vikings have been favored by so far this season. But the Colts are no slouch, man. The Colts have clawed their way back to 4-4, starting to get healthy. Jonathan Taylor-Thomas looked good. Buckner, they're looking to get back as well. And all of their games have been by 8 or fewer points, I believe. So everything's been close. And can't sleep on them. And I know that people want to overlook the Colts and be like, oh, this is the soft part of the schedule. Every single game is important. Every single game is tough unless it's teams that play in the Lions. Yeah. All we need is one first down, man. Anyways, but for the Colts under center, it's going to be up in the air. Schefter, go. Colts head coach Shane Steichen to reporters on whether quarterback Anthony Richardson will start Sunday night in Minnesota. We're evaluating everything. Now, Richardson has been ass, thank you, this season. He has a 44.4% completion percentage, which is not good. My God. And also, he tried to take himself out of the game against the Texans because he was tired. Never seen that, ever. And Flacco can still ball, man. So whoever the hell it is. Frankly, I'd rather play Richardson because I think that his volatility will work against him in this spot. I think the Vikings defense could get back to good. I mean, Flacco, he's old. He doesn't have the arm strength he used to, but he can distribute the football. And I think that the Vikings backup quarterback curse could certainly be carried on. It could be Backo with Flacco. Yeah. And as of right meow, the NFC playoff picture looks like this. Vikings would open up as a 6 seed on the road against the 3 seed Falcons and Kirk Cousins, which these storylines write themselves. Right now, the Eagles will be hosting the Commies, fun intra-division rivalry, as well as the Packers will be out at Arizona. Told you don't sleep on the Cardinals, man. All right, and the Lions allegedly would be one, which the more that the Lions earn the media praise and the more they look like a wagon, the more that the Vikings-Lions game pisses me off. Just like so many damn opportunities go toe-to-toe, and that's why I'm not crying in the breast milk about the Vikings. I know that the Darisaw injury sucks. I know that the Rams game definitely sucked, but it sort of is what it is, and we saunter on. Also, it's Halloween this week. Can't wait to take the kids out trick-or-treating around the neighborhood on Thursday. Our little guy Ezra, it's going to be his first time ever. So our buddy Megan put out a tweet that went viral. We couldn't see it, and her kids dressed up as 2 Vikings players and a referee who was blind. Got his cane out. All right. It's just so rough. It doesn't matter that the Vikings didn't play well that night. It doesn't matter that the Vikings had a very low percentage chance of marching down the entirety of the field. 2-point conversion, just a tie. They deserved the opportunity, and the referees robbed the Vikings of that chance. It's rough, man. Yeah, but Megan, fantastic photo. Hopefully the aggregators gave you credit. Doesn't always happen. Right. Wonder what my kids are going to be for Halloween. Oh, Margaret wants to be a ghost. We'll see. Oh, by the way, thank you, Jeromes, who contributed to Margaret's school fundraiser. They eclipsed their $20K goal, and Margaret was top 5 in terms of fundraisers, and she won, ghost erasers, which, I don't know. I feel like prizes back in the day used to be more substantial, but it's all right. Also, all right is so flying under the radar of the Darisaw injury is his roster spot has been taken over by TJ Hockenson. Gessling, go. The Vikings activated TJ Hockenson from injured reserve to take Christian Darisaw's rooster spot. He's expected to play next Sunday versus the Colts. So now, knocking on all the wood, hopefully Hockenson is back to good, and we need him, especially without Darisaw. The Vikings passing game has to go quick. And Hockenson over the middle of the field, it's a weapon that Darnold hasn't had this season. So it's about time. I don't want to be insensitive to the medical professionals and Hockenson and blah, blah, blah. Yes, we want him back to 100% so that there's a lower risk of re-injuring things. But Definitely could use him last couple games, but it's all right. Long season. Let's get him back for the Colts and for the stretch run. Now, also hopefully coming back against the Colts, guessing again. Vikings are back at work today, Monday, with a light practice after the mini bye. I didn't see Blake Cashman today, though Kevin O'Connell sounded hopeful last week that Cashman could return for the Colts game. I think one of the other beat writers mentioned that Cashman had an appointment, so hopefully it's with a toe specialist. Which, how do you get into that line of work? Yeah, but Cashman. There's a very clear line of demarcation where the Vikings defense looked like the best in the league the first 5 games with Cashman. Last 2 games, they look like ass, thank you, without Cashman. And coverage in the middle of the field, leadership, getting lined up. Again, nothing against Ivan Pace Jr., but it just seemed to flow a little bit better with Cashman in the middle. Also run defense. So, yeah, having Cashman back is going to be monstrous. So hopefully he is going to be back to good for Sunday against the Colts and Jonathan Taylor-Thomas. Stupid Badger. Yeah. Also, speaking of roster/personnel moves, Kevin Seifert, ESPN, who's not Carl Gerbschmidt, he's not. Vikings left guard Blake Brandel, and whether coaches have talked about him moving to left tackle to replace Christian Darrisaw, quote, "We're still figuring everything out," end quote. So I think this is the most likely course of action because the more I think about it, Quisenberry is fine as a backup. You don't want him starting. Like he's sort of like Rashad Hill in that vein. I don't think that they're going to roll with the rookie Walter Rouse, although it's kind of spicy, right? I think it could make sense for Brandel to split out to left tackle. He was a college left tackle, spent some time there in 2022 when Darrisaw missed a couple games with a concussion. Wasn't great, but also Brandel's progressed as a player. And then you got Reisner in at left guard, where he's played throughout his entire 5-year NFL career, so it could be no muss, no fuss. Now, you would still have Ed Ingram on the field, but but we'll see. I think that's probably the most likely outcome at this spot. I don't think that they flip Brian O'Neill to left tackle. It doesn't make sense since he's one of the most dominant right tackles in the game. I don't think that they trade for a left tackle. I think that they could sign a free agent left tackle. Bakhtiari, no. Health-wise, no. DJ Humphries could make sense if his knee is good to go. I think that he's still got something left in the tank, but we'll see. I think Brandel's the most likely scenario. But the Vikings would have to get the quick game going, get the ball out of his hand. Also, some trade options. It's from Alec Lewis, the Athletic, via Purple Persuasion. Here's some potential trade candidates for the Vikings can be interested in. Jets cornerback DJ Reed, BJ Hill, that's where your mom has a house, Brady Christensen, Osa Odigizua, Will Freeze, as well as Nate Hobbs. Now, DJ Reed makes a lot of sense, and it's not only a play for now, it's a play for the future. I mean, DJ Reed is a stud, absolute stud, man. And if the Jets are having a fire sale and they keep Sauce and they part ways with DJ Reed, bring it on in. BJ could definitely add a little something to the interior of the defensive line. It would be nice to get some semblance of a pass rush there. Brady Christensen's interesting. So the pride of BYU, I think he's 28, third-round pick from back in the day. He's played all along the offensive line for the Panthers. He mainly center this year, but he does have left tackle experience. So is this one of those spots where you bring in Christensen and you plop him in at left tackle, and then you have him compete for center next season? It's interesting. Osa Odigizua is a guy that I want as a Vikings free agent next offseason. So since he's in a contract year, it won't be an exorbitant cost, but it will be something. And you would have a half-season audition, essentially. And also, if it's not your cup of tea, he could leave free agency. You could be in line for a comp pick. But Odigizua, in terms of that quick interior pressure, love it. He was fantastic at UCLA. He's been great in Dallas. I would absolutely love to have him in purple. Will Freeze has been playing above his skis, this season for the Colts. And I don't know, the Colts are 4-4. Even if they lose, if and when they lose on Sunday, I don't know if they'll be sellers. And Quentin Nelson isn't getting any younger, and Freeze has really stepped up nicely so far. Then Nate Hobbs, I don't know if he would fit in stylistically with what Flores wants to do, but certainly adding some depth into that secondary could make some sense. Also making some sense is J.J. McCarthy. So that's a silver lining with everything. Where whatever happens this season, how the Vikings finish 5-12, the Vikings finish 15-2, 15-2, 15-4, 15-6, 15 Super Bowl, doesn't matter. The Vikings still got their quarterback of the future, J.J. McCarthy. Got a great head on his shoulders, busting his ass, doing all the work, and it's really good. That's from Burt Breer of Sports Illustrated. for the Vikings. For the most part, Darnold played pretty well in his Southern California homecoming before the Rams defensive front took over late after the Darisaw injury. And he's been consistent and proven to be good fit for the Vikings offense. As for what that means going forward, Kevin O'Connell has addressed the elephant in the room and told Darnold to worry about having a good day, a good practice, good game. After that, they'd all address what would be a very good problem to have down the line. I think that Darnold is a huge underdog to be back at this point. I think at minimum it'd have to be an NFC title game appearance, and maybe even more than that. Meanwhile, rookie first-rounder J.J. McCarthy was part of the team's traveling party for the first time. He went out to dinner in L.A. with the quarterbacks Wednesday night and was on the headset on the sideline Thursday night, which is really good because not only is McCarthy active in meetings, but hearing the game day chatter on the headset, hearing the call from McConnell, hearing all of that makes it's going to be great. Like, mental reps are just as important as actual reps at this point in his rookie season, given his injury. He'll be with the team going forward, but most of his focus is still on rehab. He's building strength back now and isn't yet to the point where it's a 50-50 rehab to football work, but he's getting there. McCarthy's done a lot of rehab with his teammates when his teammates are on the practice field, has participated in meetings, and has a one-on-one meeting once a week with Kevin O'Connell, which, you know, their relationship is obviously going to be the most important for the team going forward. And that's what does make you feel good, where you notice that no one's talking about tanking because you already have your quarterback and you already have your talisman on the edge in Dallas Turner, who is going to be fine, right? And the Vikings are in a weird spot. If and when they win, they're going to be 6-2. I would still be buying at the trade deadline for a myriad of reasons, right? Here's what's interesting. Seaford, ESPN, Knockout Gershman again. I have some theories on the set of stats, but curious about yours. Vikings plays per game. Offense, 56.7, fewest in the NFL. Defense, 66.4, third most in the NFL. So there's a couple of things going on here. Number one, initially, the Vikings, when they started out 5-0, like, they had some quick scoring drives, especially early quick scoring drives. But recently, been a bit helter-skelter, unable to string together a drive, especially after scripted plays. And defensively, there was a lot of catch-up mode early on in the season. That's why the Vikings were, bottom of the league in terms of passing yards allowed, because in all 5 games, teams were in catch-up mode, right? But recently, it's been because they've been getting driven on, and 4 touchdown drives against the Rams, 4 against the Lions. It's rough all the way around. So they got to flip the script on that, and they got to string together something on offense, and defensively, got to get some pressure. Got to get some stops and just going from there. Yeah. Also, since Patriots are having a fire sale, star edge rusher Josh Uche going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Dan Rossini, The Athletic. It's known around the league that the Patriots will continue to listen to offers on other players before the NFL trade deadline next week. Now, my pie in the sky is Michael Onwenu. All right, and I don't care that he's never played right guard or left tackle, but it could be a spot where you bring in Onwenu to replace Ed Ingram at right guard. You absorb his contract because you can afford it, and then you have Brando left tackle and Reisner left guard, and you're good to go. Just completely patching through the right side of that offensive line with cement, because Michael Onwenu is a stud. I love him, man. Although Christian Gonzo, I understand that they probably won't let go of a true blue cover corner, especially on his rookie deal, but I guess never say never. If I had to choose between the two, God, Onwenu would be so damn good. But Gonzo, also what's interesting is that Gonzo, before he transferred to Oregon for his final year, he was teammates with Mekhi Blackman at Colorado before he transferred to USC for his final year. So we could have that connection long term. Mekhi Blackman comes back from the ACL. Mekhi and Gonzo back together. Boulder before Deion came in. Now, I would actually go Gonzo, but even though Onwenu was on a premium contract, I feel like the Patriots would be less inclined to trade Gonzo versus Onwenu. But could be pie in the sky stuff anyway, but who knows. But that's where we live. Pies in the sky. But that's it. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skull production value.